Hello and welcome back to the Big Three Sports Talk Show. Nate Martin and Kieran Costa coming at you for the first time in a year and a half in person.
Yes, sir.
Insane to think about. Ion not here, couldn't make it, unfortunately, but we are here to bring a great show. MLB playoff race, a lot going on there. Fantasy football drafts have started off, and we just had ours today. And Premier League began its season with some very interesting results, to say the least. So we'll get into that and more. But first, Kieran Costa, give me our player of the week.
The player of the week this week is Diamondbacks starting pitcher Tyler Gilbert in his first ever MLB start, third appearance. There was a no-hitter against the Padres. Diamondbacks no longer the worst team in the league, and the Padres have stumbled since then, losing their second wildcard spot to the Reds, but we will get into that in just a little bit. A lot of playoff races to get into, but Tyler Gilbert, first MLB start, first player to do that, no-hitter.
And mind you, that was a game before Tatis came back, and then Tatis came back and homered twice, if I remember correctly, in his first game back from injury. This day in sports history, not a lot of big events going on besides some Olympic stuff. So we're going to give it to one of the Olympic GOATs, as it is his birthday today. Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive, it's his birthday today. And I don't know how old he's turning, but I will find out. And he turned 35. Done with track. We won't see him at another Olympics, unfortunately, but he was great to watch.
Yes, he was.
One of the GOATs. Let's get right into Major League Baseball playoff push. I'll share my screen because I can do that. And this is what it looked like. Let's start off with the AL.
So the AL, the Yankees are doing everything they can to chase down the Rays and win the division. But do we really think that's going to happen? I'm going to say no. Staving up, go to ESPN so we can see the wild card standings, which is what we really need to see here. But I would say that
Standings?
Yeah, standings. Okay. You see here the Rays have a 4-game lead. They'll hold on to that. But the wild card where it's really interesting, the Yankees have a 1.5 game lead on Oakland and 2 on Boston. I think Seattle and Toronto are probably out of the race now. Seattle sold at the deadline, giving up Kendall Graveman and others, which doesn't really make sense. And the Blue Jays just can't string together multiple wins. But it's all going to come down. The Yankees travel to Oakland Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of next weekend. So that's going to be a huge series, make or break. Can the Yankees make it 6? Can the A's take the lead back? It's all going to come down to that series for the AL wild card.
It's going to be super interesting. The A's just played a series against the Giants.
Split the first two,
and I think, if I remember correctly, that's the series.
No, they play tomorrow.
They do play tomorrow for the Bay Series. Whoever wins that gets the trophy, right? So, big deal there. Yankees, I think they have a chance chasing down the Rays. They do have the better lineup, but the Rays play great, been playing great baseball.
Yankees can't beat the Rays is the problem.
That is the problem, but it's a matter about with teams who they play. So the Rays, they got the Cubs, the White Sox right now, a tough series. Heading into Phillies, easy. But then you got Boston, 2 Boston series with a break with the Twins. It's a relatively easy end of the season, then tough closeout.
They go Houston for 3, and then the Yankees for 3. The last 3 games of the year, it's Rays at the stadium in the Bronx. So that's going to be a huge series. Let's move on to the AL Central. It's no competition. The White Sox have basically clinched. Indians 10.5 out. The West is very interesting. No one's really thinking about Oakland to chase down the Stros, but it's only a 3.5 game difference between those 2 teams. But if we look at the Astros schedule, it's a cakewalk the rest of the way. A lot of the Rangers, I think.
A lot of
teams like that.
Rangers. Yeah, that's what you want to
Yeah, and
see.
you see like
A lot of
Kansas
and
City easy, Texas easy, Seattle easy,
not easy, but they got a good team. San Diego, then Seattle, then the Angels. So that's probably a bit of a
Rangers,
tough
Diamondbacks,
stretch.
Angels. No,
It's
no
a bit of a
tough
tough
stretches.
stretch from Seattle to San Diego,
Big
back
ones.
to Seattle. That's a tough 9 games and a
But-
tough 12 games, really, with the.
No. But then you have such an easy stretch when Angels, Rangers, Diamondback, Angels again.
But then you close it out with Oakland, Tampa, Oakland. That's pretty rough. Big games in the AL West around that time. And then obviously Central is the East. I want to go back to the East because realistically, the Yankees could chase them down. All it takes is 4 games.
It does.
All it takes
But
is
the
4
Rays
games.
don't lose.
Rays have some easy games. I don't know what how
The
how's
Yankees have won 9 in a row. So the Yankees have gone from on July 1st, the Yankees were 10.5 games behind Boston for the wild card spot. And a lot of people had said, you're on a 9-game winning streak. How are you still only a wild card team? Well, we made up all that ground to get there. And yes, we could
now you
chase
comfortably
down the
have
Rays.
now you have a pretty comfortable lead in the wild card.
4 games against Oakland, they're going to be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we can chase down Tampa Bay. The problem is we can't beat Tampa Bay when we play them head to head. Worries me a little bit.
All right, let's move over to the NL. AL East, we knew this was going to be really interesting. It hasn't played out
It
the way
has
that we
been though, because the Mets had the lead up until 2 weeks ago. DeGrom goes down. They have the toughest 13-game stretch for any team this season. Giants, Dodgers, which is just brutal. And they've fallen off 6.5 out. And even if the DeGrom comes back, which it doesn't look like he is, they're done. So what looked like a promising team, even an NL favorite, have fallen off. The Braves 9-1 in the last 10.
gave a lot up for half a
Javi.
season of Javi Baez because it's looking like I don't think he's going to stay with New York. I don't think he's going to stay in New York.
They bought and it didn't work.
Unfortunate, but Philadelphia, they still got a strong team. Bryce Harper having a quiet season, dominating.
Yeah.
He's playing great.
He's having a quiet MVP caliber season.
Yeah, and then obviously the Braves, Acuna goes down. We're thinking they're going to be out for the year. They're going to be done, but they go out. They make some great under the radar moves at the deadline. And they now they have the best record in a very competitive NL East.
I think the Braves can hold on here. Red hot 9-1 in their last 10 meetings.
Central, 2 very exciting teams in the Brewers and Reds.
Milwaukee easy as it locked up.
Yeah.
7.5 is unable to come back. Wild card will be a fun conversation.
Both of these teams have been
Milwaukee's been great.
Some of the favorites of mine this year. Probably both teams playing great baseball, exciting baseball as well. But then you got the Giants, Dodgers, and Padres and the NL West, and arguably the most competitive division of the year.
Second most
After the AL East. But what looked like a 3-horse race around June, July has become a 2-horse race. Padres dropped out. They have been struggling with injuries.
A 1-horse race 2 weeks ago when the Giants were red hot and the Dodgers were cold has now flipped a little bit. The Giants still playing pretty good baseball, but the Dodgers on a hot streak. As you see, a lot of teams are 9-1 in their last 10. But playing red hot baseball, 1.5 behind the Giants, and I hate to say it, Nate, but I think the Dodgers will complete this comeback. Let's look at the Dodgers schedule just to see how many times they play the Giants here on the backstretch.
I mean, it's just in general to have such large winning streaks like these in August. These are the dog days of baseball. They're hard. They got the Padres. The Dodgers have struggled against the Padres this year. Rockies
easy worst
win. Atlanta
series.
They're still a solid team,
and
but then you got 3-game series in San Francisco. Then you head to St. Louis, 4 games there. Then you got 3 games against the Padres, Diamondbacks. Cincinnati's gonna be tough. In Colorado's been one of the best home teams this year. So that's gonna be tough playing in Colorado.
So only 3 more against the Giants.
But they got tough. They got a tough stretch. It's really gonna be as far as I can tell, this is just really gonna be these 2 teams controlling their own destiny.
They've got laughers against Colorado and Arizona. but
But then
only
so-
3 against the Giants.
And they got a lot against the. They got 9 more against San Diego, and San Diego
which
has
has been a fun series to
dominated.
watch all
Has
year.
dominated the Dodgers
I think
this year. Like
7.
7-3 against them or something like that. 7-2.
Wait, are we sure the Dodgers have not? I think the Dodgers have dominated this series, right?
No, it's been the San Diego, if I remember correctly.
Hit on the thing, and I think it will tell us the.
Where?
There has to be a way to see the series score between them.
So first half, let's see. They played San Diego. They
Lost 3
won
out of 4.
3 out of 4.
No, they won 2
3
out
out
of
of
3,
4.
lost 3 out of 4.
4. And then they played them. They haven't played them since, as far as I can tell, unless they lost. They
Oh,
got
yeah, yeah.
swept
So they're 3-7.
3-7, which is it's not pretty.
So it's
I'll
fun.
say that.
That's a fun race, but if I have to predict it, I'd say the Dodgers overtake the Giants.
Let's check out the Giants schedule real quick. They have a couple of tough series. They obviously have the Dodgers. They have a lot of Padres series. I remember that close out the year against the Padres. Excuse me, acting a little slow here. We'll go over to this side. They got the A's, but then they travel to New York, which is a tough red eye to go from Oakland to New York the next day. Then you got Atlanta. So this is some tough series.
Yeah,
Mets,
Milwaukee,
Braves,
4.
Brewers.
Dodgers,
Dodgers,
my God,
3.
no, you've fallen off fully.
And then you got a home series.
Laffer against the Rockies.
I think
Laffer
it's
against
in
the
Colorado. I
Cubs.
think it's in Colorado.
Still Laffer.
Cubs, Laffer, but that's gonna be the return of Chris Bryant in Chicago. Going to be emotional. Then we got the Padres, more Braves, more Padres, more Rockies in Colorado. Close it out with the D-backs and Padres. I think the Dodgers are going to chase him down. I think the Dodgers are going to chase him down. But let's move over
And that wild card fun.
to NL wild card.
So
3 teams.
the first team is set. We're saying
Yeah,
we're saying
Dodgers or Giants.
we're saying it's going to be the Giants, but that goes either way. But Padres and Reds tied at the moment. We've looked at the Padres schedule already. Let's look at the Reds real quick. I don't think St. Louis or Philly is going to pull it off. I think it's between these 2 teams.
And I'm pretty sure Cincinnati. I'm assuming it's going to be a little easier than just judging off
lot
the division. Miami, Milwaukee. That's going to be tough. But then you got to have our Miami series. Very easy stretch from
St.
Miami.
Louis, Detroit, Chicago.
Very easy stretch from Miami from like, let's see, this 27th to the 17th. That's like
Padres
20
and Pirates
days.
again.
20 days of easy baseball.
This might be it.
I think the Reds
The
are going to be able to
Padres might
chase down.
shockingly fall off.
It would take a miracle.
It wouldn't. They're dead even. They just have to play one better than the Padres.
And then the Padres.
The
they got
Padres need a miracle.
San Francisco, Los Angeles,
Okay.
San Francisco.
Let's count this. 3, 6, 9, 13, 17.
20 if you're counting the Astros.
No, let's just look against the
Okay,
Giants and
17,
Dodgers. 17, 19.
20
Oh, that's a 3-game set.
20.
20.
20 games against the Dodgers and Giants in a month.
That might be it.
In a
for
month
them.
and 10 days. I think it is it for them. So what we're saying is that it's going to be, let me get this straight. It's going to be it's going to be the Rays winning the AL East, the White Sox, and then did we decide on this one? I think it's the
We'll go
Astros.
Stros.
We'll go Stros.
Stros got a lot of laughers.
Then
Away.
We
Braves
got
hold
Braves,
on.
Brewers
Milwaukee,
hold on,
easy.
Los Angeles holds on, and then in the wild card, New York and
Ooh, this we didn't decide on.
let's just say NL. It's going to be San Francisco and Cincinnati. Who would you take in that in a 1-game set?
Reds don't have an ace.
If the Giants put out
Goose.
Gossman, I'm saying it's a loss.
Wow.
I think they have to put out Logan Webb. Logan Webb's had
What?
the second the best second half of the year for the Giants, the
No,
pitching
no.
staff. I say you go.
I say you
Webb.
go Wood.
Woods
Wood has experience pitching in the playoffs. That
wasn't he on the Reds?
Wood was on the Dodgers that won the
And
World
he was
Series
on the
last
Dodgers,
year.
yeah. But I think he also
Dave
played a bit of-
Sclafani was on the Reds.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see that. But Boston versus Oakland. Boston, let's see. They're playing the Blue Jays right now. Then you go
No, they're playing the
into
Rangers.
Rangers.
Easy wins against the
Wins
Rangers.
easy,
Easy,
tough, easy, tough.
tough.
So tough 6 games between Tampa and Chicago. Easy.
Seattle's not a
eats.
laugher, but not
Baltimore
easy.
is a laugher. New York, both New York teams, not laughers.
Tough trip. Tough trip. Oh,
Tough
wait,
trip,
no, no,
but
no. Tough
easy
hosting,
flowing it
tough
out.
hosting.
Easy closeout with Baltimore and Washington. Exactly what you want if you're a Red Sox fan. For the A's, it's an interesting one. It's gonna be close. Let's see. It goes San Francisco, Seattle, easy. New York, tough. But then you got Detroit and Toronto.
Huge.
Detroit and Toronto. Toronto's in a lot.
Toronto's tough.
So
In
Toronto, Chicago is very, very.
That's a
competitive.
tough trip.
But then you got Texas and KC. Then you got Angels.
Angels.
That's gonna be tough. Seattle.
How many against Houston? Only 3, 6?
3, 6. So 6 against Houston.
Wow. I don't like betting against the A's to not make the playoffs.
Yeah, A's are
Am I
pretty.
gonna say the Yankees are making it out of this group? No, it can't be. They're playing red hot baseball.
I'm taking
Wait. Who do they have slated for my Friday game?
Cortez
Good
Jr.
day. Hey. Man himself.
You're missing the Cole game.
I might go Saturday as well.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Kieran's going on Friday, Sunday, potentially Saturday. Seeing 2 out of 4, maybe 3 out of 4, and a potential wild card preview. But that's our postseason race preview, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Premier League. And already this is off to a very interesting start. Obviously, some teams have not played all games.
Brentford right now in a
Brentford
positioned.
win and draw. So far the only teams with 2 wins are Liverpool and Brighton. People always seem to sleep on Brighton. They've done good enough to stay into the league.
Brighton's
for
been
couple
almost
years,
relegated for like 3 years in a row.
but they haven't. And
They're not
you're
winning.
hoping they're going to take the next step this year. Will they? Probably not.
I do not think they will.
I want to talk about the top 4 though, because realistically, it's
The
a 4-horse.
projected top 4, not
Projected
top
first 4 top 4 is Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and Chelsea.
Not in that order.
Not in that order. What order are we thinking?
I think okay, so we had some disagreements on this, but let's start with 4. We agree Liverpool, right?
We do agree Liverpool.
Okay, so we agree it's City, U, Chelsea, Liverpool. City, U, Chelsea are our 4. City, U, Chelsea, Liverpool are our 4. Liverpool is 4. Man U is 3.
It's gonna be close.
City and Chelsea, I think, finish 1 and 2.
Have Chelsea at 2, City 1.
I think it's Chelsea at 1, City 2. We add Romelu Lukaku. Our main problem last year is Werner couldn't finish. We solved that problem. I mean, like, is Werner coming off the bench? Imagine that. Super sub Timo. We have Havertz, Ziyech, Mount, Pulisic. The talent is just so deep.
Pep Guardiola is good domestically. I'm taking City 1. I have to. They added Grealish, had a pretty solid first game as a City player.
City, of course, lose against the Spurs as they
one of the
always
bigger
do.
shocks.
No, they've lost to the Spurs 3 years in a row.
Okay,
so
there
I'd
you
say
go.
not a huge shock.
And then I think I'm gonna go. I think the big question for me is City or is Chelsea or Man United at 2. It's
I
a
don't
big.
think it's a question.
I think Manchester United has had a great summer transfer window. They add Rafael Varane, one of the top center backs in the world.
Not as good as Lukaku at his position.
It's debatable.
Lukaku, the top striker in the world.
Well, you could say the same about Rafael Varane. You add Jadon Sancho, you got your man after 18 months of
Sure.
going all out for him,
Sure.
which was a very nice move. You still have Rashford. You still have Fernandes, who has scored a hat trick. Pogba
Greenwood.
looking very good. Mason Greenwood. The City team can get it done. They have 2 very good wingbacks in Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw coming off of one of the
Harry
best
Maguire.
Euros. So that defense, I'm taking that defense over Chelsea's. I'm taking Maguire and Varane at center back and Shaw and Wan-Bissaka on the wing.
Over James, Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Zuma, Chalaba.
Well, I'm just saying as a
Joel.
starting lineup level.
Yeah, we have so many.
You have so
You
many,
can
but
mix and match.
you can mix and match, but you gotta stay consistent. You gotta find the consistent formula.
No one's gonna be tired. Our second team's better than Brighton.
Better than, yeah, I hope it would be.
Do you?
As if you're spending like £1 billion every summer, you'd hope your second team would be better than Brighton's.
Yeah, you probably should. It is. I'm not worried.
It's really interesting. We're not going to talk about Arsenal because I don't want to.
The
And
Gunners
the Gunners
lost to
currently
Brentford.
looking like they
Losing
may
to
be
Chelsea tomorrow?
relegated.
Relegation would be shocking for Pierre. No chance.
I don't know. I think it's time to get Mikel Arteta out. The rumor is that they have a coach in the wings ready to take over, a coach that's really good with developing youth players. I don't know who exactly that is, but that's what Arsenal Twitter is thinking. I don't know if that's the case.
Arsenal fan TV is the best fan TV, though, if you want to win at something.
If you do want to win at something. And we usually have some of the best kits in the league. Like, we're very consistent in our uniforms.
True.
Can't argue against that.
You can't win games, though.
Let's finish off today's show with some fantasy football discussion. It's draft season. NFL starting in a couple of weeks. 2 sleepers and 2 guys to stay away from. Starting off with Kieran, give me a guy that you're looking to get in one of the later rounds that could potentially be a stud.
Brandon Ayuk, I guess, would not be a later round, but I picked him up in one of my leagues, and I think, Nate, you picked him up in our league.
Yes, I did.
I think he's the second pass catcher on that team behind Kittle. I think he'll step up above Deebo Samuel. I really like Brandon Ayuk to pick up, and maybe before.
This one's a little bit of a hot take, I feel like, for many people, but Antonio Brown, during his time as a Patriot, when all 3 receivers were playing, received by far the most targets. I think it was 62 targets to 55 for Godwin and then 48 for Evans. So that's a big difference between 62 and 48. You took Evans. The Evans is usually the first Bucks receiver to fly off the board. You could have taken AR2.
I already had Montgomery. I'm not going all in on the Bears offense.
But Antonio Brown gets high volume receptions. Tom Brady, I mean, we know they've had some great games together. The first game, but the only game he had as a Patriot comes to mind. I think no more off the field stuff is going to come out about Brown in the near future.
No, I mean, never be too sure about that with AB.
Exactly. That's the one concern with him, but that's a concern with a lot of players in this league, as we do know. So I think Brown's a potential sleeper for most fantasy GMs.
If you have an extra bench spot, if you're playing like 6 or 7 bench players in your league, I look at Trey Sermon. I feel like he's gonna win the workload from Mostert.
When?
Maybe in week 4.
No, he's not.
He is.
I don't agree with that.
He does work though.
He does.
I liked him at Ohio State. And they picked him in the second round, third round?
Third round. I think he's going to be good, but they're looking for him to come in next year after that. I think Mostert is still the lead back in San Francisco just because he works so well in Shanahan's system. So you're saying that's going to be your second sleeper. My second sleeper, I'll go with a running back as well, and I'll go Darrell Henderson. I'm a big fan of Henderson in that backfield for the Rams. If Akers was healthy, I would have said Akers, but Henderson, he's been looking really good in training camp. He's expecting to get passes out of the backfield from Matthew Stafford. He's a great player to have in your team, especially in a PPR league. I'd be looking at drafting around the round 4, round 5 range, and potentially be looking at him to be a top 10 running back in fantasy.
I would stay away from Naheem Hines and Marlon Mack. A lot of years we've said the Colts have 3 running backs that are all viable options in fantasy, but I think Taylor's single-handedly taken that away. It's no longer running back by committee. Hines and Mack will get no touches.
I'd be looking to stay away from, I'd say, Najee Harris. He's a player that a lot of experts have been hyping up this year. And he's playing behind one of the worst offensive lines in football. I mean, what more can I say? A rookie running back playing behind a poor offensive line. They're expecting him to get a lot of touches. Sure, he'll get touches, but the question is, will they be effective touches where he's getting a lot of yards, touchdowns, all that sort of jazz? I'd be staying away from Najee Harris.
I'd stay away from Kenny Galladay. I liked him on the Lions and I hate him on the Giants.
That's interesting.
Giants, poor offense, poor offensive coordinator, poor head coach, poor quarterback. No more Kenny G after he doesn't have Stafford throwing to him.
And the next guy I'd say to stay away from is Amari Cooper. Had a pretty solid year last year. But CeeDee Lamb is looking to be the wide receiver 1 in that offense. Michael Gallup always gets a lot of touches. Dalton Schultz looking to come in at tight end, get some touches as well. It's going to be a competitive. It's going to be a lot of pass catchers for
Did Dalton
Prescott to
go to
throw
Stanford?
to. He did go to Stanford, man. And
Cowboys
I think
have 2 Stanford tight ends.
really
They drafted your tight end this year.
took
Semi Fehoko.
Fajoko's a receiver.
He was listed as tight end when he drafted.
He's a receiver though.
Can he play tight end?
Maybe if he gains weight, but
We need him to.
okay. Cooper is going to be marked like he's probably going to be marked as receiver 1 as a cornerback. If you're opposing team's quarterback, you're going to be looking. You're going to put your best guy on Amari Cooper. And I think it's going to be locked down a lot of the time.
CeeDee Lamb's going to be putting up wide receiver 1 numbers against a wide receiver 2 corner.
Exactly, and that's why I took CeeDee Lamb in our
I
draft.
took Gallup for my bench.
Yeah, Gallup's a solid bench receiver. Every single year he proves to be a very, very good bench guy. With that being said, thank you so much for watching today's show. For Kieran Costa, I've been Nate Martin. You've been watching the Big 3 Sports Talk Show. We'll see you guys next week.